objects.
Really?
Agreed.
I put it up against another.
And then,
Yeah, I remember.
It was
Characteristics, not even the shape.
negative.
Mentally ill. Mentally
Did
sick.
a special effects agency.
All right, we are here, new studio. This is a trial run. Jaren, you're joining us for a trial run
This
here.
is awesome. I can't believe I'm here.
Good to have you here.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I feel like every time we're doing the podcast during the summer con, we're sweating our asses off. We always
Usually,
Yeah, it's a little toasty in here. It's not
Yeah.
gonna lie, it's pretty toasty here.
we need an air conditioner up here or something because
I mean, I live up here, so I'm getting used to it.
Oh
but it's
yeah,
hot.
so you have to suffer through it. I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my room's right there.
his
so.
his room's up here too. So I'm trying to get these mic levels too. Bear with us, people. Here with the new studio comes new challenges. So good to be here though tonight. We have Jaren Skarphol on.
Yep.
Jaren, you came to me a while ago and you said you've always wanted to be in a podcast.
I do. I listen to a lot of Barstool podcasts and some podcasts online too. So I thought it'd be super cool to be on a podcast. So
Hell yeah, that's
here we
dope.
are. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
so glad it's come to this.
It is, and it's fun because now we're keeping the podcast to Mankato. I haven't really told Colin this. We've kind of been traveling around. We were doing it in Wyndham for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we've been doing it in Wyndham. We've been moving around. I really want to get more people on in Mankato though. There's so many interesting people here,
It's a pretty
especially
crazy town.
now with college starting.
Everyone's back. kinda,
Everyone's
too.
back.
and they're kind of like unreserved too, like with like COVID and stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, it's whatever. Like
Some
we're
crazy
all gonna get
times.
it sometime. Like I felt like I got it in December because I have family live in California, so we went to go visit.
Yeah.
And I felt really sick after I got back, and I felt like I had the symptoms. So
Yeah.
I feel like I already had it. I've been tested like 3 times, and I haven't gotten
Ethan
it. So.
thinks he had it for sure.
I think I had it.
Like it's crazy. Like I think I've had it. I think everyone's gonna get it at one
What were the
point.
symptoms that you
It
had?
was just I had like a bad stomach and I had like a fever too. So I was like, oh well, like, I think it's just a normal cold, you know.
Yeah.
And then I started to cough a lot, and I was just like.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
Now looking back on it, I was like, I definitely had COVID for that week, and
Yeah.
then that's my body got rid
Yeah.
of it. So.
Well, and my symptoms were I lost my sense of taste. And
I didn't
smell.
lose that, but I've heard people do that too. So that's like gotta be crazy.
Which actually, if people that are listening are wondering, if you lose your sense of taste or smell, it's actually a good thing because it means that your whole experience with it is going to be pretty mild.
Okay.
People that went to people that usually end up in the hospital usually don't lose their sense of taste and smell.
okay.
So you could have been in danger.
yeah, I could.
we went to
I got rid of it.
we went to our buddy's cabin in Alexandria, and like Ethan, Bauman, 2-in-1, like 4 or 5 people lost their taste and smell. So I'm like, somebody had it.
Somebody must have had it.
Somebody had it when we were
My
there.
2 roommates had it too. So
Oh,
like,
really?
But I didn't get it. Like they stayed in their rooms that week, so I was just like,
Wow.
okay.
Yeah.
And I was still going places, so I was just
Yeah.
like. I
Yeah.
probably shouldn't be doing this. Like, I just went to like donate plasma and whatever, but
Yeah.
like, I got tested again and it came back negative.
Oh, you have
so-
been tested.
I've been tested twice,
Okay.
so I was
he
just
got
like,
tested twice too.
and it came back negative. So I was like, that's just weird. How am I not getting it, but they are
Yeah.
getting it? You know?
Yeah, I had mono and strep during it, but not COVID.
That's like what's mono.
It's a lot worse.
Two of the worst ones.
How bad
Yeah.
was it for you shoving that up your nose? I've heard a lot of people.
I had tears come to my eyes. I was just
Really?
like, you gotta touch my
It's
brain
not like it
or what?
hurt,
It
but
does.
it-
It's just like
it's-
an awkward feeling.
it's-
You
yeah,
know,
it's
like
very-
it's not.
Just
It
uncomfortable.
It's not a normal feeling.
Yeah.
It sucked big time.
I wanted to get tested, but at the same time, I was kind of like, I'm just gonna wear the mask, follow the rules. You know
do
what
what
I
you have
mean?
to do. Like it's not hard if you wear the mask.
Yeah.
Like, with my glasses, it fogs up, but like I've come to terms with it, take them off sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, I've kind of come to like figure out how to get it to not
Yeah.
fog up.
Yeah.
So it's like whatever. But
And it's one of those things where I'm not a huge fan of wearing a mask or whatever, but I'm not going to be like the kind of guy. So I'm not going in there because
no,
you gotta
exactly.
wear a
I'm not
mask.
gonna
You
do
know
like
what I mean?
that. It's just
I
not
think,
worth it.
yeah, I think everyone can agree that it sucks, but let's get through it. Let's do what we got to do. Whatever.
So we can get through this, then get over and get back to normal. 'cause
Exactly.
That's what everyone wants to do.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, and I've even heard people say it kind of sucks, but I've heard people say that this is the new normal.
This is yeah, that's true.
And I'm hoping that's not true. Though.
I don't want it to be true either, 'cause,
I'm
like-
hoping that things go back to normal. I
'Cause
want to
think
go
of
to
rounders,
concerts.
You know, think of rounders. Like that's like the perfect example for me. Like,
Yeah.
Seeing rounders at like what is that like now? Like dead is like depressing.
Yeah.
Like, it really
Downtown
is.
is
It's just a sad
unbelievable.
Yeah, well, we were all downtown on Saturday night, and they're cracking down in Mankato.
Scene. It was just like pathetic. That guy, I feel bad for him in South Street that has to walk around and tell people to wear the mask. Like I don't hate on him because it's his job, you
Yeah.
know. But I feel
Yeah.
so bad for him.
Yeah, and there was a guy, I just read a news article today, actually, a guy got kicked out of South Street for not wearing a mask. He came back with a parking sign and attacked the bouncer. So there's he is gonna get charges pressed against him or
What?
whatever. Yeah, and I don't know when this happened because we were there the other night. I think it was last weekend, and we saw a guy get thrown out, and it was that guy.
It was that guy that got thrown out.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
Was that the guy
Yeah,
then?
yeah, I think it
okay.
was
So
him.
I didn't see him come
Wow.
back. But we left. I'm pretty sure. Colin, you were there though, And did you see anything?
I wasn't there on Saturday.
No, this is last weekend. You went.
Oh,
it was
the weekend
when,
before?
Yeah, the weekend
Yeah.
before.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, everybody's telling me somebody just got thrown out. So
But
I
apparently
never
he
saw him come back.
Apparently, he came back. So
Like, imagine freaking out about stuff downtown Mankato. Like,
Yeah.
of all places, like, it's like Mankato's cool and all, but it's not like something to freak out about.
no,
Like, you know.
no. People, it's just one of those things where people take it a little too far with like the whole. I've heard a lot of people bring up like the freedom to do whatever you want and all that, but when you're on private property, that you don't have.
No,
that
you don't
freedom.
have
They can
freedom,
literally
exactly.
kick you out downtown for any reason. They don't have to tell
If you look
why.
at them wrong, they can literally kick you out, which is like kind of a shitty way to say it. But like
Yeah.
if you look at the bouncer or bartender wrong, you're
Yep.
out. Like that's how it goes. If they
Literally.
don't like you, they're out.
Yeah, yeah,
So
no,
it's-
literally, and so I think people.
They don't even have to let you in.
No, they don't have to. Like it's
No.
their right to.
Yeah, well, and that happens to a lot of people. I mean, especially at Rounders, a lot of people don't get in.
No.
Whether it's for a fake or
It's fake, but-
it's for. There's a couple things. But speaking about college and everything, Jaren, just what are you going for? 'Cause
So
I've never
I'm
even
going for
talked to you.
graphic design.
Okay.
I originally started to go for sports broadcasting, and I didn't really like it. So I took a couple semesters off, like a year off. I didn't really know what I wanted to do.
Uh-huh.
And then I had in between. I had a class that was layout and typography, and it was like how you like on these signs, how you lay out something. That's all typography and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So I was like, this class is amazing. Then I had graphic software 1, and I was like, this is really, really fun to me. So then I thought about it for a while, and then re-enrolled in doing it again. I swim into graphics now.
You want to put the mic a little bit closer,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So that happens to a lot of people. I feel like they're taking a class that's not really part of their major.
Exactly, and then it just comes to you. Like I was
Exactly.
like, this class is really hard. And like me and my teacher sat down and talked about it. Like I was like, I don't really like this class. You know, like you can tell that. But
Yeah.
then he's like, I want to push you to get better. You know, and I
Yeah.
was like, this is really, really fun in the long run, and I
That's
thank him
dope.
for that.
And
I was
you're-
telling him that every day too.
Are you a senior then?
Yeah,
now?
I'll be a senior, so I'll graduate in the spring then.
Okay. And this is probably then a really weird time because you said some of your classes are online.
Yeah, so I have one class that's on Monday and Wednesday, but Mondays it's in person, and then Wednesdays it's online, only Zoom, and you only have to show up all the time to that class, which is weird.
Yeah.
But Tuesdays and Thursdays are both in class.
Wow.
But she said we're only going to be there for like 4 weeks, she thinks, with like COVID and stuff like that, which sucks because it's better learning in school
Yeah.
with like the graphics program than
Yeah.
like with Zoom. It's really difficult.
Do you think college kids should get a discount in their tuition if a lot of their classes are online? Like I know one of my friends, all their classes are online.
I've heard a lot of kids have all classes online.
What do you think? Do you
I think they should, like, because I know some of my friends, like all they did for their class was watch YouTube videos. Like you can do that at home for free, you know, like it's not
Exactly.
that hard to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So I think they should be in reimbursed for like not having classes in person, because it's
Yeah.
a whole college experience.
It
Just go
is.
into class,
Yep.
meet people you've never met before in your life,
Yep.
and just like learn.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like sitting at home doing nothing.
And I've heard that Mankato sent out an email actually saying that they're doing you guys a favor by not. Well, you go to Bethany, right?
I go to SCC.
SCC,
South
okay.
Central.
Okay. I heard that Mankato State University sent out a email saying that they're doing the students a favor because they're not raising tuition. But
I mean, why would you raise to it? That doesn't make any sense.
my friend said that they usually raise tuition every year just by a little bit, just to keep up with like whatever. I don't even know. But this year they're not raising it, so they're doing everyone a
Well,
favor.
I mean, it's COVID year, so anything could be asked.
Exactly. I agree though. I think a discount would make a lot of sense.
It'd be a lot better.
It would be.
for everyone.
Because everyone's going through it. It's a really tough time right now. It just would make sense to give up. I don't even know how much you take off, but take something off.
Just
know,
a little bit, a little amount. You know,
you don't
helping
need
people
as
out.
much
Free
money
books,
to pay.
maybe.
Yeah, free books. That's
Oh, God.
crazy. I have to buy 4 books by Friday that I need, and I'm just like, we're never gonna look at these. I don't
Yeah.
want to buy them. you
How
know?
much are the books too?
I think they're like $400 like total.
Okay,
like,
total?
Total,
Okay.
so it's not bad.
No.
but like they're
I've
like
heard
small
people
books.
spend like
but-
$1,200 and stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
it's
I'm just
crazy.
saying, like it's $400. I don't want to spend on college books and only look
Exactly.
at one time.
Yeah.
know?
when you
Yeah.
could pay for rent for a month.
exactly, or it's like something I could spend on like not books.
Yeah.
Exactly. Anything. And I mean, talking about tough times, I kind of wanted to get into tonight. We'd never ever usually get into politics on the
it's-
podcast.
Yeah.
And because we try to stay like non-biased,
Not
you know.
biased. That's
But,
like kind of how I try to keep my life.
but it's almost hard to ignore everything that's going on right now. I've been watching. Colin, you watched last night with me. I've been watching everything going on in Kenosha, and for people that don't know, Jacob Blake, I think was the guy's name. He got shot by cops 7 times in the back in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Which Kenosha is in between Milwaukee and Chicago, but I was very surprised to hear Kenosha because me and Colin and our friend were there last year, and it reminded me of Mankato, just like a small town.
kind of
yeah.
like
College
college town, kind of popping, not really, but
Yep.
it's like
Yep.
whatever, you know. It's not like the big
Somewhat
town.
scenic.
somewhat scenic. Yeah, I mean it's right on Lake Michigan, and it's not too diverse. It's not too diverse. So it's got that thing too. It's like that's what also kind of reminded me of Mankato.
It was cool, nice downtown.
Yeah, I would never expect it when I saw the headline. I'm like, wow. But then it really hit home. Like this stuff could happen anywhere. This could have happened in Mankato. You know what I mean?
Like puzzles me and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
and I was gonna get first of all, what are your thoughts on it? I mean, I don't want to get in like a huge thing about it, but it's something that you can't really avoid talking about. You know what I mean?
It's really like messed up.
Yeah.
If you think about it, to me, like it's super fucked up for I'm just gonna give you like a whole like upbringing of mine. Like I'm adopted.
Yeah.
So like I grew up in like St. James, Minnesota, which is like small town, predominantly white. You know, I'm Mexican. So
Yep.
Yeah, I heard a lot of it, growing up. So I'm kind of like, I don't really bat an eye to stuff when I see it, which I thought coming to college was like, since having my life opened up here in Mankato was different. So like my whole personification of it is different. And
Yeah.
too. And when it comes to like the military stuff, like people like saying like bashing like you're a one way or another. Like I have two uncles that served in Iraq and Afghanistan. So like
really?
I'm never ever like, going to turn my back on any of that stuff,
Yeah.
But like, so it was weird with everything like this is happening, just to try to pick one side.
Yeah.
So, but I do like what happened with what's
Jacob Blake.
Jacob Blake, yeah. That was really fucked up.
Yeah.
Like it's really bad. Like the cops should be arrested and fired and everything
You
like
gotta
that.
wonder what they're thinking.
Yeah, like it's just like you're trying to kill him. They were trying to kill him.
I can't believe he survived.
Yeah, no, we actually have someone that survived that can tell their story.
Yep.
Because with Breonna Taylor, we didn't get that. With George Floyd, we didn't get
No.
that. Now we finally have it with him. So
Yep.
like it's cool to get that. Which I don't know. It's like this whole like summer has been weird for me. Because
Yeah.
I've had people reaching out saying, I've known you since you're a little kid. I'm not racist. And like the fact you guys reach out and tell me that kind of means that you're kind of racist. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how long
Yeah.
I've known you. I just feel like that's just,
Yeah.
and like some people putting on social media or whatever. Even some of my best friends, I feel like we don't see eye to eye.
Yeah.
So like that. So it's definitely hard in these times to kind of like
Yeah.
remember like don't let politics get to stuff like that. And it's just
Yeah.
like I've known you since we were 3 years old, and I just
Yep.
I can't wrap my mind around why you think that way. It's probably why they think you same way that I think.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
just-
And it's one of those things where you have a completely different perspective on it than me or Colin being a black man,
Exactly.
Because you have a completely different upbringing. You have people treat you differently than they would treat us. And that's just something that we have to come to terms with. You know what I mean?
Will never I'll never understand how you guys see it, and never understand how I see it.
Yeah.
It's just like how we just have to
Yeah.
live with that. And
All
that's,
we
and
can
that's
do
crazy
is-
to me. That's like the biggest thing for me to get over is that.
All we can do is talk to each other and do that without, being violent or, with just trying to see someone else's point of view. And I've been really trying to do that this whole summer with everything going on. I've been trying to get a whole nother perspective. Growing up in a very small, not diverse town of Wyndham. I think it's probably one of the least most diverse towns around.
Yeah.
It's very white. And so I went to college in Chicago. That was a big eye opener for me.
Did you love it there?
I love Chicago.
traveled to Chicago. I
Yeah,
love it.
it's
so
awesome.
much.
It's a great city, a lot of awesome people, but it opened up my eyes that there's a lot of stuff going on in this world that people in small towns don't really
see.
they see it, but they don't experience it. They don't have that perspective on it because a lot of these people don't ever go to these big cities because maybe
They
they're
just stay in the
afraid.
same small little town
Yeah.
that they've been rooted in like generations and stuff like that.
Yep.
And
They
even
just feel comfortable.
Yeah,
they
it's
feel
comfortable.
comfortable doing what they're doing and like thinking the way that they think is the
Yeah.
right way, when
Yeah.
it's really not.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to make everyone sound like in small towns is bad.
No,
There's a lot
there's
of great
there's a
people.
lot of great people
Yeah.
that grow up in small towns.
Yeah.
Like, there's some people that I know that I love because like they just see the bigger picture, even
Yeah.
not even leaving their hometown, they just see the bigger picture.
Exactly.
Of things,
Yep. And I mean, looking at something like this, it's easy to pick a side, but I try to be in the middle. I try to see both sides of the story. You have a guy who was shot and killed 7 times. I can't wrap my mind around the fact that you would shoot a guy in the back 7 times. Why are they doing that? What's the training? Where there's nowhere.
Yeah, like the training. Like I'm sure you're not trained to do that.
No.
And
I mean, they are trained to, because I have a lot of friends that are like whose parents are cops, or I actually have friends now who are cops. Like
I
friends
have a couple buddies. One in particular who's a really good friend who's a
Yeah.
cop, and he reached out to me right away during this whole thing, and I was like, Nick, like I love you to death. Like
Yeah.
I'm never gonna think of you in any of that way. Like
Yeah.
I know you're different.
Yeah, it's easy for people to say that all cops are bad, and it's easy for other people to say that all black people are criminals.
Exactly.
It's
It's
horrible.
like-
It's horrible to put either one.
It's a
in
horrible like personification of someone
Yeah.
to just even say
Yeah,
that.
and I think both sides are strongly wrong. How come people can't meet in the middle and say, well, there's bad people on both sides of this? You know what I mean? It's too bad that people can't see that.
People are never going to come to see the eye to eye because I feel like just like recently it's just been the norm for people to be like racist, you know, like
Yeah.
then coming back up around, it's just like, why can't we just like see eye to eye? You
Yeah.
know? Like people, like we're all people at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what we look like.
Yeah. And now you're seeing in Kenosha right now, that's what we were watching like the first night and last night, they're rioting and they're looting and there's stuff. There's a lot of stuff going
The
on.
fires are crazy.
It's pretty outrageous. People, there's a lot of people who are super angry and they don't know how to show that anger. And so there's people that feel like this is the right thing to do. And then there are other people I feel like that are coming in and abusing these people, almost like exploiting them to try to get things, whether that's from looting or damaging property. It's so easy though to mix these people together. Because I feel like there are people, I know there are people because I've seen it. There are people out there that are protesting and marching and they care so much about this family. They're raising money. They're raising money for Black Lives Matter.
Starting like GoFundMes
Exactly,
and stuff like that.
yeah.
Just,
And
like,
then-
doing it the right way.
Yep. And then you have people, I saw it last night watching these streams. I watched the other night for 4 hours. I watched a stream. But you can clearly tell these people don't genuinely care about the movement. They just are trying to cause carnage.
And they don't care about the town at all. They
No.
don't care what happens. They
No.
don't care about the small business owners.
It just sucks because
Nothing.
the media puts them all in one.
They just
one
group
bubble.
them all together.
Yeah.
Like it's just
Yeah.
like, no. It's
There are
not how
people
it
who
goes.
care so much. Even when we were in Charlotte, North Carolina this summer, and there was protests going on, and I saw people handing out bottles of water. I saw people handing out masks. I saw people genuinely caring,
Just
and they
doing
were
their part to
Yep,
help.
yep.
Like,
Yep, and we were just filming, getting footage, walking with them, and so many people came up and said, "Thank you guys for doing this," showing that not every protest has to turn into
Evil.
carnage
Like,
and evil.
yeah.
And so it was nice to be there and just talk to people, get their perspective without anybody, getting mad at each other. There was people there that probably didn't agree with everybody, but they're still there talking. And so I just feel like we need more of that. I don't know. It's watching everything going on right now. It's such a tough time. For everybody, and I don't know what the answer is. There's no single answer that's going to fix this. Police need
no
better
one
training.
side is going to be right.
Yeah,
It's just,
no.
it's just terrible.
And I would love to talk to people like police in that town. You know what I mean? And
What they
figure
think
out,
now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because
what
they
are
have
they
a
going
target
to
on
do?
their back of their head. And that's what I was
for
talking
sure.
to my friend who's a cop. I'm like, you literally have a target in the back of your head wherever you go. And I want you to be safe. It's not about like me being safe too. It's about you being safe also.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
And how do they go forward with this? Because I think it's pretty clear that there needs to be a change in the whole thought process of being a cop. The incredibly tough job it is. I mean, they're put in these
not
impossible
everyone wants
situations.
to do it. It's not made for everybody.
No. And I think a big part of being a cop is like a brotherhood. So when they know that they might have somebody bad in their department, I feel like part of the thing is they don't want to snitch on that
No,
person.
they don't want to like turn their back. But like the thing in reality is you got to speak up. 'Cause
Exactly.
It's going to save someone's life someday.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I don't know the cop at all. Everyone knows the cop from the George Floyd thing, Derek Chauvin, but I haven't heard anyone talking about this cop that shot the guy in Kenosha.
No, I haven't
I'd
heard
love
of
to know if there was any warning signs because there were so many for the cop with George
Oh,
Floyd.
yeah.
I would love to know if there's any warning signs from this cop. If in his past he's had racial issues before, like Derek Chauvin did, because then it makes it seem like it's so bad. Why aren't the other guys coming forward, saying anything, trying to do anything? Why isn't he fired? Where did you draw the line for some of this stuff? It's such a tough position to be in, to be a cop. And then they're put in these situations where you really can see their true colors come out in something like
They're
this.
coming out, like even on social media. Like the craziest thing to me is remember back in the day, our parents and everyone was like, don't get into fights on social media. Don't put your hands on social media. And you go on Facebook and there's all these adults and parents just getting into literal fights about just things on Facebook. And I'm like, you're literally a hypocrite. You can't tell us kids not to get in fights on social media when you're doing it right now with like some of your like siblings and like relatives and like best friends. So.
I have seen so many people, and it's happened in my family too. I've had aunts or uncles or whoever go on Facebook and they share these things or they post these big long things and they get in these huge arguments with people. And
150 comments. That's
it's just like one of those things. And then maybe you've seen it too. I don't know if St. James has anything. Wyndham has a page where people can just go on there and like get in arguments with each other pretty much.
I don't think that. I mean, I don't know about it, but they probably do. But
Yeah, and I know Mankato's got one. And it's pretty much just like a breeding ground for people to demonize each other, hate on each other. Nothing productive ever comes out of it.
hate on one side.
Exactly.
And then that's just
Yep.
hate on the mayor, hate on the city council.
Hate on anybody that has a decision
that you don't like.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's the thing. Nowadays, if you don't agree with somebody, you just block them, or you just completely disregard them, or you just say, "I don't really care what you think at all, so don't even talk to me ever again." It's like, Well, sometimes you might not agree with somebody on one thing, but another thing you're obviously, you might agree with them on. It's so hard. It's so hard when you see family members
going at it,
Yeah.
and lifelong friends. Like
Yeah.
when I tell my mom all the time, I was like, you can mute people.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah.
You don't have to mute them forever.
Yeah.
You just do it for a couple months.
Yep.
I've done it before. Is
Yep.
mute someone I don't want to see their stuff.
Yep.
I'm sure people have done it to me too. So
Yeah.
it's not that hard.
And it's one of those things right now, with the election coming, this is like the prime time for everyone to get in arguments.
It comes around every 4 years.
Every 4 years it
Every
comes
4
around.
years it comes around.
And it's one of those things
This
that you
has been
can't.
the toughest year, though.
Yeah.
I feel like
It's been crazy. It's been a crazy year.
crazy
and
8 months.
it really has. And the direction moving forward has to be people not being able to see eye to eye, but having the conversations like this. We're just talking. There's
We're having
nobody.
civil conversations.
Exactly.
No one's mad.
Yeah.
Like everyone's sitting here having a smile on their face too.
Yeah,
Like no one's mad. It's just,
we're just talking, and let's move on from that. I just wanted to hear your perspective.
Everyone's
on
got
it.
to talk about it sometime.
Yeah,
It's just,
exactly. And we never bring up politics or anything, and I'm not
no.
trying to get anyone all mad or anything.
I try to stay my way far away from politics.
Yeah,
It's not.
yeah,
I don't,
yeah. You said though you had some stories to tell.
Yeah.
Some crazy stuff. This is actually what you originally told me about. I don't remember what it was. Was it like a mob thing or was it?
Yeah, so back into just to start off, I love anything mafia stuff. Like it's just crazy.
Like Al Capone.
Yeah, I love that. I love.
Okay.
I just finished recently last year. Finished Sopranos, the TV show.
Oh, yeah.
It's great. Like I love it, and in my spare time, I watch like old mob movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think it's crazy.
Hell yeah.
So I'm gonna bring you back. So we took a trip for school in the summer of 2014 to New York.
Okay.
And we went to Little Italy, and we went to this like really like authentic old it was an old Italian restaurant.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there dining this 4-course meal. Start out with the bread, the cheese, and they bring out the pastas and the meat and the dessert. So I go downstairs to use the bathroom, and it's like this big hallway long, and I look into this room, and it's like a round table, like what you see in a mob movie, and there's guys sitting with their legs up smoking cigars, and I'm just sitting there, a little 17-year-old kid.
Oh, there's the real people in there.
There's the real people in there. I'm looking in the room, and I'm just like, and one dude goes, and just looks at me, and I'm just like, hello. so I go to the bathroom, I'm just freaking out. I'm like, dude, did I see something I'm not supposed to see? Like, did I look in here? And I come back out and the door's shut, and there's someone standing outside the door just waiting so that I don't look back in there.
Wow.
And he stared at me until I walked up the stairs and back to my table.
Are these like Italian
yeah, so
looking
they're in
guys,
full
like
suits. Like, they're in full
and-
suits,
oh
full
my
of nice
gosh.
stuff. And I'm just like, wow.
And you already know, they always try to make it sound like the mob stuff happened way back in the day.
No, it's still going on
still
today.
going
It's
on.
still going on today.
100%.
It's still, like, I still believe that. Ever since that day, like, I just kind of, like, I know it's, like, a childish story, but, like,
Yeah.
I still, like, made my mind aware to it,
Mm-hmm.
And there's another time, it's not as cool, but when we were in Chicago, we stayed at,
Oh yeah, another big town.
we
mob
stayed
town.
at the hotel. It's right across from Trump Tower. I stayed with my family. And it was, it was like a condos, too, so it was, like, a bunch of floors.
Yep.
And the whole 25th floor was, like, the penthouse suite.
Yeah.
The whole floor was rented out for a wedding.
Huh.
And I'm there with my uncle and my aunt, and we're sitting there, and the whole the lobby is packed with people.
Yeah.
And he goes, look outside, and all the cars getting pulled up were like Bentleys, Lamborghinis, like Bugattis, and there's people like in suits like that walking through.
Yep.
And he looks at me and he goes, $10 says it's a mob wedding.
Yeah.
And here in Chicago, that they rented out the whole floor. No one could go on. There's people outside their floor saying, no, you can't go on here.
Really?
It's just rented out. So I'm just
Wow.
like.
They all had pinky rings on.
they were like rich, They were tipping the bellboys, giving them
crazy.
hundreds and stuff. And
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
just like, wow.
Well,
This is-
people don't realize that Minneapolis was a mob town.
Yeah,
Al Capone
my
had.
dad was telling me about like how back in the day, like it was huge. Like, it was
Oh,
a
yeah.
big mob hub here,
Yep.
which is
Yep.
crazy.
Well, during Prohibition, Al Capone stored a lot of his alcohol, like the Prohibition alcohol, the secret stuff you're not supposed to have. He put it in caves, and that's why there's a lot of them in Minneapolis. Al
They're
Capone,
all over the place in Minnesota.
St. Paul, actually, more in St. Paul than
Yeah.
Minneapolis. Have you ever heard of in New York having a mob construction permit? Have you ever
Yeah,
heard of that?
yes.
So you have to pay the mob
To get the-
construction permit, so
Which
you can
is
have
totally
the plot.
illegal.
Yeah,
Yo,
100%. Yeah.
Have you guys seen that new show on Netflix, Fear City?
No.
It's it's
No.
like it's the mafia versus the FBI and how they took him down.
Really?
It's so crazy. It's 3 episodes. I think they're an hour long.
Is it a documentary?
It's a documentary about it.
Really?
And one of my favorite parts about it, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but
Yeah.
they have a spec ops guy, who his only job is to go into the mob houses and plant bugs and stuff like that in the restaurants.
gosh.
And he's the most badass dude ever. He sits back, has long hair, and he's like, yeah, I bugged their house. Just kept smoking this shit, you know.
So this is a real guy, like reminiscing from when this happened, right?
It's like everyone from the FBI case that took him down.
Okay.
Is everyone stars in
what
it.
year did this happen? Like, do you know what year the actual events happened?
It's around
Was like the 80s or 90s? Like it was.
It was in 90s.
90s. Okay. Huh. I'm trying to
Like
think
early
of
90s.
who that would have been because I know there's.
It was the five families, the Gambino family.
Okay, I've heard of the Gambinos. There's so many.
Castellanos family.
Yeah, there's like I think there was what was there? How many was there? Five
There's
families.
5 of them.
5 families that kind of ran New York.
Back in that day.
Have you looked into
That's so
Whitey
crazy
Bulger
to
at all?
think about.
Whitey Bulger? Oh, really? You
No.
got to look in. You should watch Black Mass, the movie Black Mass.
Mass.
Yep, it's with Johnny Depp. He plays Whitey Bulger, and that happened. This one takes place in Boston, Southie, and that's another huge mob town.
Huge mob. Yeah,
and
yeah.
Whitey Bulger might be one of the most famous like gangsters of all time. I can't believe you never heard of him.
No,
before.
I haven't.
You would love this.
It blows
movie.
my mind, too.
Black Mass. It's so good, and Johnny Depp plays Whitey Bulger, and it's I don't know. Johnny Depp does a great performance.
Oh,
in
he's
this
a
one.
great actor. I just watched a movie with him recently, a mob movie. It's called Donnie Brasco.
Oh, I didn't know we did.
No,
anymore.
yeah, he's like an FBI agent, and he has to go like get in with the mob, and he gets in too far. You know, it's one of those. It's great.
Yeah. What made you get interested in this whole thing? Like the mob?
I just kind of like, well, when I was little, like probably like 12, I was so obsessed with like switchblades, and like,
Oh, really?
I saw like I read a book with the mob like had switchblades. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get into this, and I started researching and YouTubing and everything like that, and I was like, these guys are really cool. Like, they do what they want, like whenever they want,
Yeah.
kill whoever they want, take whatever they want, and it's
Yep.
all, at the end of the day, it's all about family to them.
Yep. Oh, 100%.
So and then watching Sopranos just blew it up for me too. So I was just like, I love anything that comes to mob.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that.
And then that experience in New York probably just took it out.
It took it blew it to the roof, you know, and just like walking around Little Italy and just in New York, I think New York people are just hilarious, like
Oh,
their accent
yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
When you see something in person like that, though, it's crazy.
It opens your mind too, because I'm like, why is this restaurant like it's like a hole in the wall restaurant, you know, like kind of like
Yep.
it's big, like you look on the
Yep.
outside, I didn't look at it. But it's huge. Why would it have all that stuff down there?
Yeah.
And what were they doing in there? And just having a talk, you know? Like
Yeah.
why did the door need to be shut?
Yeah.
You know? So
And it makes you wonder how many of these like little, I mean, especially in New York, you have all these little shops, and you kind of wonder how the hell do these all stay open? And then you think
Like,
the
'cause
mob is
they're
using
giving them
it.
money because
Oh,
there's
yeah.
a bunch of little shops running around them that
Yep.
were like looked popping, dude. And I'm like, I didn't put 2 and 2 together then.
Yep.
Like, why are they still running? You know?
Yep.
But
Laundering money. It might be one of the biggest things in New York. I think
my
it happens all over the United States, but I think in New York specifically, you know, you have these businesses that are just a front. They're just a front so that people can bring in the money, switch it out. You know, it's a laundromat. That's where we're making all this money. Yeah, my ass. There's no way. There's no way that this
Because like
kind of
food
money.
restaurants, like they could be ass and they could be really bad, but
Yeah.
they're pulling in money all the
Oh,
time.
for
and
sure.
You just know that money's being like dirty money's being pulled.
Oh,
through there.
100%. And I was going to ask you, do you think that mob members are like a part of the U.S. government, especially
I
out in
do.
New
I
York?
do. I think that they have people in every sort of like government branch, like cops, even FBI,
Yep.
feds, like
Yep.
everything up like that too.
Yep. And it might not even be that they're part of it, but they're paying.
But they're paying them.
they're paying
they have
them
them in
off.
their pocket. Like,
Yeah.
They're never not like the mob makes too much money
Yeah.
to make them go away. Even when they're
Yep.
their downtime and everyone got locked up, you know.
Yep.
They were still running stuff. Even when
Oh, yeah.
sports gambling was illegal.
Yep.
They're throwing games.
Yeah.
Like
And-
I still believe like even some of the teams I love, I think that they threw games that the mob was paying. them.
Really?
I do. Like I think there's no way you just do something like that, you know.
Yeah.
To lose a game.
Who was that ref? Was it Tim Donaghy or whatever? He was the ref that
Tim
got caught.
Donaghy, yeah,
Yeah,
the
he was the
NBA.
ref that got. He was doing. I think he was involved in the mob a little bit. I'm pretty sure there was some mob stuff in there.
I don't know. I just know it was sports betting.
And
stuff.
I don't know how many games he called or whatever, but he got paid a certain amount of money per game that he called.
By the mob to
Yeah, so that they could bet on those games and win big.
Because they're like betting a lot of money on
Oh, yeah.
these games, like
Yep.
high stakes money. So,
Yep.
well, even like I don't know the umpire specific name, but he blew a Baldo Jimenez. Or what was the guy from the Tigers that had a perfect game going? And
I heard about that.
What was his? Do you remember what his name was?
I can't think of
I
it.
can't
but
But
think
he had a
his
perfect
name
game. The
either.
guy was out at first, and the
Yep.
ump was right there looking at
Yep.
him. He goes,
Yep.
like, there's no way he does that without
Yep.
like someone's paying him money to do that. You know,
And you think they'd do like internal investigations, and
they
I'm
got
sure
to fire
do.
him. They got to like yeah, like what you said.
Yeah, but here's the thing: some people are willing to lose their job for the money.
because or they're in too deep with the mob with loan sharking and stuff like that happens all the time. And they have
Oh.
to do it for their life's sake, you know.
True. I mean, and this is the thing. When people get so deep into it, if you get out, they're going to kill you.
Yeah,
because
you're
of the
not
stuff
getting
you
out.
know.
There's no getting out.
There's the stuff you know. It almost bleeds. The mob almost bleeds into like the Illuminati. It almost sounds like. Do you believe in any of that kind of stuff?
I do.
Like the Illuminati?
It's crazy stuff. My roommate's watching some conspiracy stuff yesterday. At home on
I love
YouTube,
conspiracy
and it's just
theories.
blowing my mind. We're talking about Pizzagate and all that stuff, and that just like
I don't know too much. Do you know about that?
I wasn't really paying it too much attention, but just talking
Yeah.
about like it's like how the sex ring is like tied to like
Oh
the
my
Clintons
gosh.
and stuff, and that was
The
like
sex trafficking.
and like how pizza and like cheese and hot dogs were like code words for like kids and stuff like that, and how there's like emails from Hillary Clinton that were talking about like pizza kids
Oh
and stuff
my.
like that, and I was just like,
I
I
wonder,
don't.
can they prove any of that?
It was all like,
Or the email's gone?
yeah, you know, but it was all like speculation too.
Start the cameras here.
But it was all like speculation, but I still believe that there's some truth to it, you know.
Yeah.
And I still think that people are like, there's people head of this like of the government in like the U.S. that are running it. Just these rich
For sure.
bigwigs that no one's gonna touch. And like, I don't want to get into it because like, you know, everyone says they're watching in their phones and once it's moved, no,
Hey, I guarantee the government has access to hear the microphones on the phones because we've talked about this on the podcast before. How if you are talking about like a brand
product
or a
or-
product,
it pops up on Instagram or Facebook
Yes.
like right away, and I'm
Yes.
just like, dude, that should not do that.
and they're
The
not
weirdest
supposed
stuff,
to.
No.
though, dude. We'll be talking about like a brand of toilet paper. Like,
Anything.
like
Well,
Charmin and those.
yeah, and it'll just pop
or
up.
we'll have a bear popping up on our timeline. It's true though, and I don't know, you know, how they can get away with that. It's just one of those things that you kind of know that's happening. It's like people cover their webcams. You know, I don't know if they're actually like watching you at all times, but they definitely can if they want to.
They can.
They can
flick
tune
it on.
in.
They
Oh,
can.
for
They're
sure.
just too smart.
But here's the thing. Most of the time, people think that the government cares about them way too much, unless you're planning on shooting up a school or you're planning.
But they have. Well, at the same point, if they're watching you too much, they're gonna know if you're planning to do that stuff.
True.
In the long run, they're gonna peg all your stuff on socials and
Yeah.
be like, well, your search history and stuff like that.
Yeah,
too.
well, and I get that whole thing about it. Like the search history. If you're looking up how to make pipe bombs and how to,
Yeah, stuff
you know what I
like
mean,
that.
stuff like that.
might have feds at your door.
People argue against that though, saying they don't want any. Like, they don't want the FBI, CIA, no government agency to have access to your personal search history or anything. And that's why Apple actually wouldn't let the cops get into the phone of the San Bernardino shooters. This happened like 2 years ago. Remember that? There was a big thing. It was a big argument. Apple says our privacy, like our whatever, you know, you go through it, you have to agree to it. No one reads it. That thing.
No, they just click accept.
Exactly,
It's like,
exactly.
I
No one
agree.
reads. It's like a book. No one
nobody
reads it. All
any of
right.
that stuff.
So in it, it says that the government can't get into this phone unless with consent from the person, or like no one can.
And no
get
one's
your
gonna
phone.
get their consent to the cops.
Exactly. But then the argument was, well, what if that was a school shooter? When does that get voided? When can we get into this phone? And it's a hard argument to be on. If you are all about privacy and freedom of speech and security, or are you on the side of the government can come in if they need to?
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough line to be in, because I'm kind of like, I'm all for anyone can do whatever they want, but at the same time, you have somebody that's planning on shooting up a school or doing something.
You gotta get into their phone.
You gotta know.
You gotta
yeah.
have access.
You
to
gotta
their
have
phone.
access. You gotta get in there. There's important information, and I think the FBI actually ended up figuring out some way to crack the password or passcode, and they got into the phone eventually. But Apple didn't help them. So there's a lawsuit there. There's a bunch of things, and it just makes you wonder. You know, people get into this whole thing how the government is trying to overthrow everybody, dumb everybody down. It makes you wonder, what are the true intentions of like the government, and then all these other people who say that stuff, are they getting paid by other people to stir
getting-
up controversy and get like
Exactly.
people turning against
I
that?
think more of that too, and
Yeah.
it's like, because I don't think the government is concerned about me and you too
No.
much.
No.
Like, we're just like to them we're nobodies.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
it's not like they need to keep an eye on us.
Yeah.
we're nobodies.
No.
So people need to relax.
There
on
are
this
real
whole-
criminals out there.
I don't know. The Ethan Clare show is pretty booming.
Yeah, I mean they might start.
They're gonna start tuning in here.
Start tuning in because they're bashing the government and stuff.
Exactly. We did one podcast where we were talking about drug trafficking, and we were talking about like how cocaine gets into the United States and like the highways that they go on. And I think it was you, Colin, that said we're gonna become the #1 podcast for drug dealers now, because we were talking about
Everyone's
like
gonna tune in just to figure out how to
we're
smuggle
gonna get
drugs.
like El Capone, or not El Capone,
Chapo and
yeah, El Chapo, Pablo Escobar, those kind of guys. And that's the funny thing, because you have guys like Al Capone way back in the day, and you have like your modern day like El Chapo, Pablo Escobar. They're like the same thing.
I mean, this, yeah,
It's just the difference between the
their
mob
rules are the same.
and
like,
what do you call them?
they're like drug lords.
Drug lords and gangs, stuff like that. I can't think of the word I'm thinking of. Like, what did El Chapo call like everybody that? What would that be called? Like a drug.
Oh, the cartel.
Cartel.
Yeah,
That's the word I'm
yeah.
thinking of. Yeah, that cartels and the mob are pretty much the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they make all their money doing illegal things, and it's the difference between like here in the United States and then Mexico. And
They
everything's
also
on
have the
there.
same things. Like they have people that are in the government and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
The cartel. That's
Yeah.
how they get there. That's
Yeah.
how they get away with it.
And they pay off, and they you know, especially with the cartel, you know, they have kind of like the police by the balls. They can tell them
They
what
can
to
tell
do.
them what to do. Like, hey, stay away from here from like 4 to 6.
Yup.
Otherwise, you're gonna die.
Yup.
Like something like that.
But I
you know?
guarantee that happens in New York too, because they,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
like police know about stuff. There's dirty cops. You have they're getting paid by drugs or money. You know, anything, drugs, sex, and money runs this country. Whether people want to believe it or not, it's the truth.
It's facts.
Big
I'm not gonna disagree.
Big government is all about drugs, sex, and money.
If Wolf of Wall Street taught me anything, it's drugs, sex, and money.
That's another good movie.
Great movie. Probably one of my top 5s.
And the whole thing about Jordan Belfort is he was kind of like the mob, but he was doing it under the radar of the government legally. Like, I mean,
And like in their faces about it too.
Pretty
like, hey,
much.
he's like, hey, I'm making this money and you
Yup.
can't stop me.
flaunting about it and pretty much getting away with it until the very end. You know, that's the craziest part about it. But I do love mob movies, mob stuff like that, serial killers too, anything like that. You know,
One of the things the documentary The Fear City taught me was like one of the he was one of the what's his name, Polly Ducks. He was the head of the Gambino family. He probably killed 20 people, but never raised a gun to any of them. He had people do it
Really?
for them.
Oh, okay.
And that was the biggest thing. Like the FBI couldn't get over was like how can we tie these people to these killings
Yeah.
when they never raised a gun?
Yeah.
And it's just they couldn't. Then they figured out the whole branches of the mafia and stuff like that. How it starts from like boss and then captain,
Yeah.
and then soldiers, and then bob down,
Yup.
and it's just like how it's a whole train of things.
I'm definitely gonna have to watch it. Fear City. You
Fear
said,
City,
and it's
yep.
on Netflix. I'm definitely gonna have to watch it. I love that
You'll
kind
love
of stuff.
You'll
And
finish it in one day.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
probably in like 2 hours.
That's I'm glad you brought that up because I was gonna talk about how the mob, the cartel, whatever, it's all the same. They're all ran by, you have like the top guy, and then you have like your whatever you called it,
Captains,
you have captains,
capos, and
yep.
then the soldiers below them
Yup.
and how they do that.
Yep. How do they recruit people? Do you know anything about that? How does somebody, like, let's just say you're a regular person, you live in New York, you want to join the mob? You know, are there things like you got to go out and kill a random person? Is that real?
Yeah.
Initiation.
Initiation.
At some point, you're usually like if you like grew up in the city, like some of them, they grew up, like one of the guys he like lived next to like their like pool hall.
Oh.
So his house is right there, so he's seen them all the time and stuff
Yep.
like that. And one day, like they wanted him to come over and like wash cars, whatever. They started paying him, and then he started to leave school, drive him around, and
Yep.
it started to be like the.
Wow.
So then you just like get. Sometimes it's family.
Family, yeah.
Family's huge on it.
Yeah.
Like if your dad is in it, like you're in it. If your
Yeah.
grandpa's in it, you're in it. Like,
You don't have a choice. You're
no,
in the
you're
mob.
gonna be in, like
You're
your
in the
uncle's in
mob.
it. You're in it.
And if you're not gonna join, you're dead.
Yeah, you're dead.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like they like cast you off or whatever.
And that's the
But-
craziest thing. I think a lot of these people genuinely don't think they're doing anything wrong.
No, they think they're doing the right thing. Like they
Yeah.
give their money
Because they're
back.
raised up into it.
Yeah. You know, well, it could be a part of it is they might just be so against the government they don't want to follow like the constructs of society. The other part might be this is how I'm going to feed my family. I don't know anything else. The only thing I know how to do is extortion and drug dealing and anything, and this is how I'm going to feed my family.
But
I
at
don't
the
see
same
anything wrong
point, the
with it.
mob, like they're not really making money unless you're like a captain or the boss. You're not making any money because all the soldiers and stuff, everyone kicks money up to the boss.
Oh.
So if you score big on like a drug dealer or whatever, or
Yeah.
like something like that,
Yep.
you kick everything up to the boss and you only get like a minimal amount.
Wow.
So unless you're a captain or a boss, you're not making enough to live, and that's
So-
why they're like stealing, and that's why they're getting in trouble.
Yeah.
because they're trying to find money to live.
I wonder if the main thing that a lot of these people want then is like the camaraderie or the protection that you get from having because you live in these areas, especially in New York, and they can be really rough. And if you're part of like a family or whatever like that, you know that they got your back, and that if anything happens,
They're gonna like retaliate and get
Exactly.
you back. And I think that's more of it, and like fear too.
Yeah,
I think that's
big
how it
thing
goes,
is fear,
but-
and a territory is all. I don't know how much. I know like the cartel is all about that. I don't know how much the mob is, like in New York and stuff. Territory is huge. Like
Yeah.
you fight over territory, and now we're getting
cross
like
a certain line,
gangs
it's-
like Crips and Bloods. The territory is huge.
It's like their whole thing.
Exactly. Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up Chicago too, because people don't realize how much gang activity compared to like LA or New York is in Chicago. I mean, you got like the
it's
Gangster
huge.
Disciples, the Latin Kings. You have all these gangs, and there's so much gang violence there. And people don't talk about that.
No,
it's
they just like brush it under the table. They
yeah,
don't really care. They
it's
don't
almost like they think it
like,
happened back then. It doesn't happen anymore.
No, I think it's like an eyesore too. Then like we don't really want to talk about that.
Yep.
'Cause it's not.
Yep.
It's not good for viewers. But we need to get need to get it out there. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. And how do you? I don't know how you stop something like that when you have these groups of
But
people.
it's been going on for so long. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
Too, so like I don't think there's really any stopping anytime
no,
soon.
no.
Like I don't see them coming together. No, sort of
I
way.
feel like everyone
Like
they're,
any
they're
kumbaya
not gonna get
type
the
of
Bloods
shit,
and
you
Crips
know?
hugging and having a picnic at the park. That's the craziest thing about it is in our lifetime we're probably never gonna see the end of organized crime.
No.
There's no way. There's no way. And so what do you? I mean, you just kind of have to accept it. And if I was a cop, I'd probably be the same way. I'd be like, all right, they're doing their own thing. I don't want them coming after me. I don't want a target on my back.
I just want to keep my head down and like, not look at anything.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna take bribes if it offers
Oh,
me.
yeah.
Like, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna like kindly and gladly decline.
Yep.
And then just go on my own
Yep.
way. You know?
And that's how it was when I was living in Chicago. I mean, everyone's like, how did you saw violence and stuff, and did you ever get involved? Because me and Colin are really into going to these abandoned buildings, and it just happens to be that a lot of these abandoned places are in
like, the ghetto and
bad
stuff.
neighborhoods.
horrible
Yeah.
neighborhoods.
And so
Like rundown neighborhoods you don't want to go into.
exactly.
sure.
The number one way though to avoid any conflict, anybody getting mad at you, is mind your own business. Don't you don't look at anybody wrong.
You just keep
Don't
your
really
head
make
down.
eye contact.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah. You just kind of do your own thing. And people saw us breaking into these buildings or whatever, like climbing these buildings, whatever. No one said anything to us. And, I'm sure we saw a lot of sketchy things go on too, but we never said anything.
No,
You
it's just
kinda
like,
go your own
go
way.
your own way,
And that, I think that has to do, that could go a lot more than just like being in a bad area. That could go a long way in life. If people just minded their own business, didn't get involved in other people, that goes on social media too. If people would just leave each other
Stay in
alone,
your own lane, and just
Exactly.
like you don't have to get into everybody's beef. Like there's so many times, even on like Twitter, like I just want to like go off on somebody,
Yep.
and I just really don't because
Yep.
it's not really worth it.
Yep.
And is getting into a fight on social media worth it?
No.
Never, because it's
No.
there forever, and everyone's gonna see this. You can delete it,
Yep.
but it's still gonna be there.
Yep. Do you ever find yourself like typing a tweet and you want to send it, but you're like,
Oh yeah, probably every day, probably
really?
5 times a day.
Really?
Like,
Yeah,
there's
I
so
have
many.
happened to me all the time. I type a tweet out and then I.
It's so harsh. And even like when I type a tweet sometimes,
Yep.
because I have some tweets out there that are like they hit deep,
Uh-huh.
but I'm not like I think about them for like hours after I tweet it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, is that the right move?
Yep.
Because like it could get back,
Yep.
and I don't necessarily try to like throw shade at somebody.
No.
I'm more or less see them in person. Like
Yep.
I'm not a fighter at all.
Yeah.
I'd rather talk it out. Like I
Yeah.
talk big, but I'm not gonna fight
Yep.
anybody.
That's the way to do it. And it's kind of like the thing. I think they say, if you ever have anything mean to say, write it out and then throw it
It
away.
feels so much better.
Yeah.
Because I have so many notes in my phone that I
Yep.
have typed out to people
Yep.
that I want to send, and I
Yeah.
just don't.
You can't though.
because-
You can't.
No, because like if anybody looked through them, they'd be like, "Dude, you like need help or whatever." But it's just like, no, it's like also people make me feel.
Yeah,
But,
it's this pent up anger, and nowadays, especially, you see how social media is affecting like everybody. I mean, there have been people who tweeted something back in like 2006, and
like
now
bad, like not even like semi, like there's like extreme stuff.
Yeah.
But there's semi bad, like not even like borderline things.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
I don't think would be personally like offensive to me at
No.
all. People are getting fired and getting ridiculed for it. and
yeah,
it's like,
yeah. Well, what did happen to like Kevin Hart or whatever? Like he made a tweet back then. It was like, "This is gay" or whatever. I mean, and I think we all kind of grew up, and it was one of those things where like when we were younger, it was just kind of what people said, like that's gay.
if you got
this
called
is
that,
gay.
you like you freak out.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah, exactly. And
you didn't
nowadays,
wanna-
obviously, everyone kind of knows that you don't say that.
No,
Like, but
it's
back
offensive
then,
to them. It's
yeah,
really offensive.
back then, it was one of those things. And I think Kevin Hart couldn't host the Grammys. I think
No, he couldn't. Because
It was because
they
of
pulled
that.
up those tweets.
Yeah.
or whatever, which is sad.
It
I don't
is.
think he apologized either.
No, I don't think he
No.
has.
That's
to apologize.
ridiculous.
No, I don't think he should have to apologize either. It was something.
That happened. Like the times
Yeah.
are different. Like even
Yeah.
like with comedy too. Like comedians.
Yep.
They're getting ridiculed for what they said a long time ago. Like,
Yep.
Not talking about what's his name, Chris Lee. That stuff is sick. That stuff is
Yeah,
sick.
yeah, 100%,
But,
yeah.
like they have controversial tweets back in the day. Like
Yep.
back in 06 and 08, like comedy was different.
Oh,
Times were different.
100%.
Think of South Park and Family Guy. Stuff would not fly today.
No.
Like none of that stuff would
No,
fly today.
no, or like Mad TV.
No,
Have you
none
ever
of
seen
that.
that?
Yeah, I've seen the like Robot Chicken. Like, none of
Early
that
Key and
stuff-
Peele, early Key and Peele.
None of that
that
stuff
would
would have flown
never
today.
work. No.
So like you need to like, and people on Twitter are so like quick to cancel, cancel.
yeah.
Cancel. Like
Yep.
relax.
Yeah,
Like, let's-
calm down. Everyone made mistakes. Obviously, like we both agree the Christy Elliott thing. If it's something to do with like sexual, if you rape somebody or whatever, obviously that needs to come forward, and you need to be
right away.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that's disgusting.
Yeah.
How can you like sexualize someone younger? Like,
Yeah.
like not like someone younger than you. You know what I mean? Like I didn't mean
Yeah.
to say that, but
Yeah.
like someone who's not of age. Like you
Exactly.
can tell when someone downtown isn't of age. Someone
Yeah.
who gets in
Yeah.
like they look 16 or whatever. And how could you like? To me, it looks like my little sister, like some like a
Yeah.
little cousin. How could you
Yeah.
sexualize someone
Yeah.
like that? That's disgusting.
It is.
And people are like, oh, well, she's hot. She's 16. I'm 16. That's not how it goes,
No,
bro. Like,
no.
have fun in jail,
No.
dude. Like, that's like
And he used his celebrity status to get,
to get
with
girl, which is the
younger girls.
worst thing ever. Like
Yeah.
that means like you're
Yeah.
extra scum.
Yeah,
like, you're a
yeah.
scumbag.
And he played a pedophile.
That's
in
not-
you.
That's why he played it, because he knew how to do it. Like
Yeah.
he's so good at it because you are one, bro.
Isn't that
Like,
crazy though? The fact that he did it and he took on that role, because you have to accept
Knowingly,
that position.
too,
He
like-
knew, yeah. And what did he think? Like, did he never think that he was going to get caught and that that he's playing a pedophile on TV? He doesn't feel bad about doing that at all. And then he gets caught, and I haven't heard anything from him in months. Like doesn't tweet anymore.
he's gone virtually.
Doesn't-
Like, and he was on Barstool too. Like he had an interview with them, and
Yeah.
now they're just like, we don't know what to do. We're put in a weird position because we aired
Yeah.
a show with a pedophile.
And
Like,
literally, it's kind of like the Kevin Spacey thing. You never hear it.
but then he was on them too, so like,
Was he really?
His face always had a bunch of rapists on there.
Jeez. That's bad.
It's,
Yeah.
like, messed
What do you
up.
do? I mean, for a guy like that, you go from being, I don't know if he was at the peak of his career, but he was going up.
was
Christy
going
Elliott
places.
he was gonna be
He was
huge.
going places.
He was already big, but now
Didn't he get roped in with the Epstein stuff? The Epstein
I
stuff?
don't know. I've heard so much about that. Now you're hearing about Ellen, and you're hearing about all these high-profile celebrities. I've heard stuff about Tom Hanks. Who knows what's
yeah.
true anymore? Is everybody in Hollywood a pedophile or involved in sex trafficking?
So that would just like ruin my childhood. It
would. All
Because
your
like Tom
favorite
Hanks,
movies.
that's like Toy Story.
Yeah,
So,
I
like,
don't want anyone to be like, "No, Tom Hanks is my favorite." Like, I don't know anything about.
It's just speculation.
It's
It's
speculation.
out there. So
Yeah.
We're just talking.
Yeah, we're just talking
We're
here.
gonna talk about it.
Everyone's gonna be, "Oh, you're calling out Tom Hanks."
No, like, I love him to death. Like,
oh,
I just hope
love
he's
Tom
not
Hanks,
like that.
And I thought Kevin Spacey was a super good actor. I still think he is, but that doesn't mean he's a good person. Obviously, he's a horrible person, and it's just one of those things. Like, I was trying to figure out, what do you do when you're in the shoes of like Christy Elliott, and then this happens and you fall off? You can never come back out again and return to normal life. So what do you do? You work at Burger King? Like,
IT job online.
Hey, they deserve it, so
Yeah.
they gotta figure it out.
yeah, I'm just curious to see like way down the road what like somebody like that ends up. Where do you
It's
go?
not like he was rich.
No.
Like, he was like semi like rich.
I wonder what his net worth
Hopefully,
is.
he's been saving some money.
Yeah. Well, and I think he'll still make royalties from all the shows and stuff that he was in.
No one's gonna watch this. Like they'll air it on. Like will they still air it though? Will
I think
still air it on
they
TV?
they kept you on. I know that was, I don't know what else.
I think so.
They
I
took the
thought-
comedy specials off Netflix, I'm pretty
Okay,
sure.
I was gonna say there's no way he's getting money from that.
What else was he in? I'm trying to think, movies and stuff. Well, I think he was just mainly, he had a podcast.
Well, that's canceled.
Yeah,
Like,
for
that
sure.
is-
Yeah. I
That's
think
not coming back.
I don't think they're gonna take down you though. I'm like, I think the same thing for like the Kevin Spacey movies. I think they're still all online. Like, you can still get them all. It's one of those things. They're put in a really tough position because you get a high profile guy, you get him in a crazy amount of movies, and then what they do? How many people in that movie are gonna end up in the future getting called out for something? You can't get rid of every movie, and that's another thing with the cancel culture. We can't get rid of every single thing that's happened because everyone, it seems like
Everyone has done something
Everyone has
controversial in their
done something
life.
bad,
Like, if you
yeah.
said you didn't, you're not having fun. You're not really living, or you're lying.
yeah,
like it's one of those three.
exactly. And we're all, no one on this earth is perfect. Like,
No,
everyone's made
well,
mistakes.
far from it.
Yeah. And so if we're gonna go back and get rid of every single thing, every movie, every TV show, every comedy,
We're gonna
thing,
be left with nothing.
exactly.
At the end of the day.
Yeah. And maybe the lesson is no one's perfect, and in the end, it's better for people just to come together, try to get some kind of unity. I don't know how you do it when in the culture we're in right now, it seems impossible. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
There is. 2020 is almost over. Like,
It
think
is.
about it. Like,
I'm hoping that next year is just a fresh start. We can put this in the past, learn lessons, because there's definitely things that need to be learned. But in the end, I think 2021 just has to be a year of
it has
progress.
such high expectations though. Like that's what I.
Hey, maybe the last 3 months of the year will be beautiful.
Who knows? Who knows?
We can only hope.
Yeah, it's. I think I don't know. People are saying the coronavirus is going to go into next year.
which is terrible because I miss going to Twins games.
Yeah,
man.
I miss going to
it's
concerts.
just that too. And,
I
Twins
miss, like,
game.
everything.
Yeah,
just being able to like just be out and not
Yep.
feel weird about, not have to wear the mask.
Yeah,
Like
I'm getting tired of watching the NBA games with the
bubble. Like I don't like the bubble. Like it's not cool. Like it's a cool thing,
the
but it's
digital
not fun.
people in the background.
Hey, it's
like-
better than nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
I'm
is,
happy they're
but-
playing.
Yeah, at least there's sports coming back.
But no college football is terrible.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. I don't agree with that decision either. If
No.
they can go to class, why can't they?
Why
Why can't they play football?
There's no
Yeah.
fans. It's fine.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
care. Like it's gonna be weird atmosphere, but no fans.
Yeah, I wonder what they're doing for high school football and stuff. If
I think they're moving into like the spring.
Oh,
Which
okay,
like
okay, I did
leaves
hear
the
that.
baseball players in a weird position. Like, say you're a senior,
Yep.
and you like have you can get the scholarship for football or baseball. You have to choose which one you want to play, which is terrible because it should never happen.
Yeah.
It should never be like that.
And
for
people
them.
in bigger cities are going to be like, well, how can you play both? Because I feel like bigger schools, you play one sport. That's what you do year round. You play football year round. You play baseball year round. But no, people, if you're in a small town, there are 3 sport athletes.
Oh,
which
yeah. Like-
seems impossible in a big town, but it's out
and
there.
some of them are like key athletes for each sport
Oh,
too.
yeah.
So like you can't you can't just pick and choose which one you need.
Yeah,
You know?
I feel horrible for the seniors that that have to go through this because, and people that are going into college now. I mean, if I graduated and this was my first year of college, I would probably take a gap year.
Oh yeah.
Just because it's a
Well,
huge,
it's just like freshman year is so pivotal because it's like you meet new people and
Yep.
like the dorm life is probably 90% of it.
Yep.
Like it's coming from everyone I know. Like you meet your best friends in the dorms. You know,
Yep.
you hang out with all the time.
Yep.
And you're with them every day. Go to class with them. You like eat with them. Some of them are your roommates too. So like taking
Yep.
that away and all the experiences you experience is just terrible.
yeah. And I think a gap year would be good for a lot of people.
Yeah,
because people don't know what to do.
No, and I wish high schools pushed more community colleges to students because I feel like the whole 4 year is pushed so much.
Oh.
And when you get there, you don't know what you want to do.
No.
And if you like drop out or take a year off, you're like consistent, like cast it off, like you didn't know
Yep.
what you wanted to do.
Yep.
But if you pick 2 years, like they have so many options for kids.
Yeah.
And it's so much cheaper.
It's so much cheaper
Oh,
too.
Yeah. I think it's a part of culture that if you don't go to a 4-year, that you're going to end up working at McDonald's. or
Exactly.
something.
And
It's
that's
Ain't nothing
the
wrong with McDonald's.
No, I've never said there was. No. I just it's one of those things we've talked about it before, time and time again. How if they would push more that you should go do your generals at a community college or take a gap year or whatever.
and
Think
see what
about
they
what you want
offer
to do.
and
Exactly.
because they offer so many different
Yep.
like programs you can get into.
And
that
like
are
you started with something and
exactly,
switched.
and I didn't completely love what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
It's like totally for me.
Yep. And that's, I think, the way that people need to do it. They need to try different things, experience different things, and then without spending unbelievable amounts of money. Because
Exactly.
I know Mankato, MSU is not crazy expensive, but it's
Well,
not cheap.
Bethany's pretty expensive. It's
Is
like
it?
30 grand a year.
Really?
So,
Wow.
It's pretty expensive.
Wow. And were you going to Bethany?
Yeah, I did for a semester and a half.
Okay, and then
Oh, like no, a year and a half.
Year
so,
and a half?
So then I just like decided not to. Like
Yeah.
I left second semester. I was just like, it's not for me. I had to talk with my parents, and they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, like if you don't want to pay for it, it's,
Yeah.
it's all up to you. So
yeah, met
I
a lot
just-
of cool people, but
met, like some of my best friends to this day.
Yeah.
like people I love to death.
yeah,
And-
that's awesome. And I mean, I think everybody, especially for people right now that are kind of in between. I know we have viewers that are like in between high school and college. I think this is the time to this is a good time to just take a break in life and like work, save some money up because you're going to spend a crazy amount of money in college.
Unless you have like a good laid out plan
Yeah.
that you tend to stick to. But I know
Yeah.
a lot of people don't really stick
No.
to it. And I'm not trying to stray anyone away from their plan.
Exactly.
It's just I know a lot of people have a sort of plan they're sticking to in college, and then just like
yeah.
bump in the road. They just don't.
Yeah, and you don't have to go to college for every job. I mean, if
No.
you don't have to go to college for that job, you can
Dive right into it right
dive
away.
right into it and just get good at it. You know?
I know a lot of kids that just started working right away, and they bought a house. They have like
Wow. Yeah.
all this stuff lined
Props
up
to them,
for
that's
Like,
awesome.
People are married. From
Some
my
people are
grade,
married,
that's
having
crazy.
kids.
That's
yeah.
crazy. I'm not in that position right now. I couldn't imagine being in that position right now. But there are people that are there. You know, everyone's on a different.
Kudos to
life
them
journey.
too, because
Yeah.
they found the one.
Yeah,
That's
hopefully it works out. You know, there's a
Yeah.
lot of things that say young marriages don't last. You know, the stats right now, but that's not what I want to end the podcast on. Unity. That's what we're headed with. Unity. So this has been a great time, Jaren. Thank you
guys.
so much.
Thank you guys for having me here. It's
yeah,
been fun.
it's been a great conversation. We're all over the place.
Yeah,
talking about
I love that.
lobsters and.
Those are the best ones.
the best ones.
We should do another podcast in the future and really dive deep into like mob and
Yes,
like,
I'll watch some of those
mafia.
movies you told me.
Yeah, and I want to watch Fear City.
Yes,
Yeah,
because
and-
I feel that we could talk for hours.
yeah, you
on
got to
that.
watch Black Mass.
I will.
Yeah,
I put that down.
it's a great movie. Everyone else, if you got any other suggestions for future topics, we'll get Jaren back on here. We could talk about
Our guest.
yeah, or guests to get on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good guests.
yeah. We're always looking for people to come on and talk civil conversations about anything you want. We're always looking for people. So this has been a great episode 82. 82, I think we're on. Is this
Wow. 82 or 3.
82 or 83. So we're
nice.
on the road to 100 here. So
Glad I could be a part of it.
yeah, we'll get you on another one, Jaren. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
out today. It's been a great episode. To everyone watching, please share it, subscribe, get it out there. We are hopefully we're trying to get on Pandora now. We're on all the other. We're on Spotify, Apple Music. We're on Google Podcasts. So we're on a lot of the main ones. We're trying to get a couple more here. So keep the support up and
Help 'em out.
Yeah, help them out. Thank you very much, Jaren. So this has been a great episode, and we haven't done one this long in a while. It's almost going to be an hour here. So yeah, time flies. Time flies. So thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll be back next week.
Objects.
I've got a great
put it up against another.
if
And then,
Yeah, I remember.
It was it's not even the shape.
I
negative
was getting no.
Mentally ill. Mentally
And
insane.
a special effects agency.